What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Heavyweight Nation podcast. And all the people could see, underneath me and Matt here, we got 2023 All-American, taking third place. I think the pin leader as well, a guy who basically bonus points his way through nationals. We got Wyatt Hendrickson from the Air Force Academy. Wyatt, you're an old school guy here, one of the OGs, like the first 20 people we interviewed, man. And it's a pleasure to have you back, especially after the year you had this year, man.
Yeah, dude, thanks for having me. It's a blessing and honor.
Yeah, the honor's all ours, man. The honor's all ours, man. But like I said, man, bonus points every match that you wrestled at nationals. 3 pins and 2 major decisions. You took a rough loss in the semis, but came back strong on the backside of the bracket. An incredible tournament for you. I'm gonna say from a fan standpoint, looks like some of the best shape of your life you were in this year as well. And just kind of talk a little bit about what happened kind of preseason this year that you really gave you that extra boost that you needed.
Yeah, so obviously last year coming into the tournament, I was seated fifth, and I was like, sweet. I just got to wrestle good, and I was pretty mentally strong, I'd say, but I was kind of I was really looking further into the bracket, and I kind of overlooked a lot of my beginning matches. And so after I lost to Christian Lance, I was pissed. I was very pissed off. And so and then I went and wrestled Orndorff. I did my head straight, ended up getting thrown, and I was out of the tournament. And so at that moment, the second I lost that match, I just ran to the gym and just had to take out some anger. And so ever since the last match in NCAA's last year, I was like, this will never happen to me again. I'm going to make sure of it. So that really just set the tone for the training for the summer and the preseason, as long as the rest of the season. So just having that mindset, because the way I felt after that, I was like, I'm never going to feel this way again. So I did everything in my power to make sure that didn't happen, and it didn't this year. So
Yeah, man. I mean, and I think a lot of people don't really realize, especially for you, is your day definitely looks a lot different than a lot of these guys that are going to these big colleges. And not even that, but I think a lot of people, are living in these really nice high-rise apartments, wrestling in these, really top of the art wrestling rooms. And, talk a little bit about the differences compared to, some of those guys with you going to the Air Force Academy.
yeah, our facilities are definitely amazing. They're world class facilities. I love that. The difference is definitely living a little bit in the food. We don't have any special. We have some special catering on some events, but most of the time, we're cadets at the Air Force Academy. So we are wrestlers, but we're all cadets, and so we come to the hill, and the hill is what we call the academy, pretty much. And so I'll refer to that a lot. Up at the hill, we eat with everyone else. We don't have like special meal plans, any meal prep. It's kind of just we just do whatever we do, and we got these beautiful little dorms we get to live in with the roommate. So I mean, it is awesome, obviously, but at the same time, it could be a little bit better. But I mean, facilities are great, but yeah, for time and military wise, I mean, it's just tough because sometimes you have to make the decision like, man, do I really want to get like this extra cardio in, or because if I do this, I might not be able to get my homework done tonight. And so it's kind of just like a trade off. You never have enough time for everything, but throughout the years, you kind of find out how to balance it. So I found a pretty good balance, and definitely like some parts of the season, I'm like wrestling's up here, then academics is down here. It's just a wave all the time, but it's all smooth for the most
So
part.
kind of run us through what a day in your life is like during wrestling season. I'm sure in the postseason it's a little bit better. I'm sure just a little bit easier for you. But what's a day in the life like for you during wrestling season?
Oh man. So every other day we got practice at 7 in the morning. And so that's nice. They can help us with our schedules. And so on certain days we'll have morning periods off, and then on the next day we'll have the afternoons off. So we'll have 2 days, then 1 a day, 2 days, so forth throughout the season. Um, but obviously go to lift, go get a workout in, then go straight to class. We gotta like run back up here. Have class till about 12, eat lunch, usually have some military training for about an hour a day, go back to class again, and then go to practice again, come back, uh, do some homework, go to bed, do the same thing all over again. So the weekends here are amazing because I mean, whenever like family comes to visit, they want to do stuff in Colorado, and I'm like, no, I'm just gonna sit on the couch and do nothing. It's very rewarding when you can just do nothing because you're always doing something. You always got something on your mind. You always got something to do. You never have everything completed. So whenever you can just relax, it's very rewarding.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big difference too, as well. It's just like a lot of these guys, it's like maybe they got two classes a day and they got a lot of downtime in between, practices and stuff, and they don't have that extra training period. And I know we heard one of the announcers at Nationals say, after 2 years at the Air Force Academy, you're bought in, man. There's no backing out now, no transferring or nothing like that. So kind of talk about, what that process was like for you. Was it kind of you knew after, after you got there, you were locked in for, the 5 years of service afterwards?
Yeah, so for me, it wasn't really that big of a decision. I mean, I came here. I didn't come to the Air Force Academy just to come here for 2 years and leave. Like ever since I went to the prep school, it was my mission to, I'm going to graduate this place. So I mean, for me, it was just a nice milestone to hit, just showing that okay, I'm halfway done. I get to keep pushing through. So I mean, ever since I showed up here, I mean, it's always my goal. So it was pretty simple, but it's called Big C or commitment, and it's a nice dinner. And if you show up to class junior year, your first class, it's like it registers you in the system. It's pretty much like you sign kind of. And so that locks you in for 2 more years at the academy and then 5 years of service after. And I mean, like I said, it's been part of the plan the whole way. So it wasn't really a decision for me.
Yeah. And I definitely think, wrestling at a military school, obviously, it's a little more challenging, but I think it comes with a little bit more honor, that now you're going to go serve your country after, possibly winning a national title next year. And then you'll be able to go out and kind of serve the United States.
Heck yeah, it's absolutely it's an honor and blessing to be at the Air Force Academy. I mean, I get a world class education. I'm part of something bigger myself, and at the same time, I get to wrestle at the highest level in the Big 12 and the NCAA. So
Yeah.
there's nothing better than that.
Yeah, man. Talk about that. I mean, two-time Big 12 champ as well, able to win the Big 12, and talk a little bit about what it's like wrestling in the Big 12.
It's definitely awesome. Obviously, it's more of a in Big 10, Big 12. I think they're both big conferences, and I kind of just I knew I wanted to wrestle at a bigger school for sure, and I did not know the Air Force was in the Big 12. So when I found that out, I was like, heck yeah, let's do it. And so I definitely think over the past couple of years we've kind of been towards the bottom of that, but I mean, as we showed this year, we're competing now. We took 18th at nationals, which is pretty sweet. Um, we're just we're just going up. Like we're climbing the ladder. We're getting some really good recruits. The coaches are still doing all the right things, and so I mean, we're just gonna keep climbing the ladder.
Definitely. I think we're excited to see, what next year holds for you guys. Obviously it's a big year for
Yeah, for sure.
yourself. A big year for, your big ride at your big ride, one more trip to nationals. I think a lot of the fans are excited to see, because obviously this year, man, you really showed up to wrestle, So talk a little bit about being like pretty much one of the only people at the tournament that bonus pointed. You got bonus points every single match. What was that like for you? And of course you're known now as one of the best pinners in all of college wrestling.
Yeah, it's pretty much I don't know what happens, but I mean, obviously when you know you can win a match the fastest through a pin, it's like why wouldn't you? So when I think the big thing is whenever I drill, it doesn't matter if I'm like getting a turn or I'm on bottom getting a reversal or a takedown. In practice, I always drill to a pin. Like I don't people drill takedowns. No, I drill to a pin every single time. And so I actually did it like by habit, didn't even knowing it my freshman year. And then my coach is like, why? We're just doing takedowns. Why do you keep taking everyone down to their back and pinning? I'm like, I don't know. I just do it. And so I kind of realized that that was like a thing I wasn't even meaning to do. But I mean, when I just wrestle, I'm always looking to catch someone because a lot of the times when I catch them, it's in a position where they usually wouldn't get caught, unless I'm cradling someone, of course. But I mean, a lot of those positions, it's just I just don't stop wrestling and I just keep going for their head and trying to pin them, and it works. So,
Yeah,
but
man.
Clearly effective for sure.
Yeah.
yeah,
So how many pins did you record this season?
I think 16 or 17.
I think 17, I want to say.
I think
Yeah,
last year you had 18.
yeah, that was pretty sweet. I didn't even know that was rewards last year. I just like pinning people. Then this year, with that known, I didn't really change the way I wrestle, but I definitely, if I saw a pin, I wanted to pin people now. I'm like, if I get them close, I'm like, okay, I want these pins now. So
Two-time, two-time pin leader of 2 years in a row. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gotta be awesome, man. And I think, we saw that, against Cassiope, a guy that, has kind of terrorized the Big Ten at some points. So what was that like wrestling a guy like him and being able to get a fall?
It was awesome. I mean, even just wrestling the Big Ten guys, because I mean, I know that especially after last year's performance, it's easy to say like, oh, like Big 12 heavyweights are not good because I mean, as a Big 12 champion, I got knocked out by the 12 seed stuff like that. So after that, I was kind of bummed out. But just being able to wrestle those Big Ten guys, because I know I can compete with them. I know I can beat all of them. And so just having that opportunity and going out there, I knew in those matches, like I can't really change up what I'm doing. I just gotta just go and wrestle, relax and wrestle. And that was a great match. I got a takedown. I got two takedowns and then the reversal. But when he got that reversal, my hand was on the far side of his other lap. And I remember my dad being like, never reach back, never do, I've never done chin whips or stuff like that. But it was there and I was like, you know what? Let's just freaking send it. And so in my mind, I was like, all right, here we go. And I just went for it. And as soon as I got my hips over his, that I couldn't even move my arm. That was so tight. I was like, oh yeah, like here we go. Like there was no getting out of that. And after Penny, it was pretty sweet because I mean I was looking forward to that match and I was looking forward to having just a hard fought match. And then, ending it with the pin, I was like, okay, that feels good. So it was awesome.
Yeah, man. And I think a lot of the fans, we kind of talked about this a little bit before we started recording. A lot of the fans thought that you were the guy that would be able to match up with Mason Paris. A lot of people thought if given the opportunity, you would be the guy that would be the best style match for him. And talk a little bit about the preparation. The whole tournament, were you kind of prepping for Mason Paris?
I was not. So that's one thing, like I said, I think I made a mistake last year is I looked ahead of the bracket way too much. So this year I definitely just took it one match at a time. And obviously it's super tempting, especially being a number 2 seed to just look all the way to the end. But I knew I needed to just take it one match at a time. That's what I did. So even from the first match of Cal Poly and the Navy, all I looked at was like, okay, what's their like main moves I should look for. So I really just broke it down to stuff I didn't do last year. Just take it one match at a time. And so I mean, obviously I've been watching Mason Paris throughout the year, and I wrestled him once. So I was fully prepared, obviously, to as soon as I made it to the finals to sit down and look at that. But I mean, I still just took one match at a time. Made it to the semis, and things could have gone differently. I've never. Let me tell you when Kurt got on top of me, it felt like a blanket, and I was not expecting that. That dude is tough on top, so I know where I need to work for next year. I know those positions, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
it's definitely always good when you know what you got to work on, know what you got to do to improve, and it's better than going out there and being like, I don't know what I could have done differently. I mean, next year you're gonna come and elevate and always get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
so. Talk a little bit about the change. I feel like a lot of people saw, you last year, and you looked pretty good for, you're a pretty big dude, and you looked good. But this year, I feel like you just looked like you were a different level. Was there any kind of special changes you made to your diet or workout that made you look as big as you did this year?
I definitely took bulking pretty seriously. So I love little guys. I know they cut weight and it's good, but like obviously not eating food's hard, but forcing food down when you're not hungry, that's not easy. And so, whenever I'm not hungry, just pretty much trying to stick to my diet. And I mean, I got with our trainers and we got some people to help us out with meals, and she kind of gave me a plan to follow, and I tried to as much as I could. So I definitely took it seriously. And the lifting was I reverted back to like an old style of lifting. I actually went back home over the summer with my dad and his lifting partner, and they were just doing some crazy stuff. And I was like, well, you guys are both big, so let me try it. And it was a whole new experience of lifting, a little bit older style, but I mean, it worked. I felt really good this year, really big and really strong when I was wrestling. I'm gonna do the same thing this summer, come back even bigger next year.
Yeah, like
What were you walking around at this year?
So preseason, I peaked at about 270, and then I about halfway through the season I was about 250, and I ended off at about 245, 243.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people kind of think a little bit like, oh, like the military, you got to be in shape and you got to be able to do this and do that. So I even thought about that for a moment. I was like, my one friend at home was in the army and always talked about getting taped. and how he had to watch what he ate and like watch his weight. Is that something that they do to you guys in the Air Force as well? Is kind of weigh you and check your uniforms and all that?
Yeah, all the time. It's hilarious because I always get red flagged every time as being overweight, and so I have to like go to the special people and they gotta like measure me and do this stuff. I mean, as soon as they see me, they're like, "Oh, like, all right,
You're
this
just
guy,
big, yeah.
he's a big dude." But I think it's fun. It was, yeah, we got a couple times a year. They'll make sure our fitness is up to date, and they'll measure us. And every single time I step on the scale, they're like, "Oh, that's weird. You got to go see this person." So I'm used to it. But I mean, yeah, we
They just
do.
need to put in the system Wyatt Hendrickson, heavyweight wrestler, big, just big.
Just put a
Big
big.
boy.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
have all the fitness tests, and I mean, I love them. I mean, I can still. I mean, I'm a heavyweight, but I think of myself as a lightweight in every other aspect. And when I run, I try to run as fast as I can. We've got like a bunch of AFT, PFTs, like a mile and a half run. I usually run about 9 minutes, so not bad at elevation. And
9 minute mile and a half.
yeah, 9 minute mile
That's
and a
good.
half. So
Yeah, that I
it's
think
Very good.
moving.
that might impress a lot of people that have watching this video. Nine and a half
I'm
minutes for a mile and a half.
yeah, and so
So
yeah,
what? You're
I
probably
think
what
Terrifying.
about a what 6.5 minute mile, 7 minute mile,
that's
or five?
6
Yeah,
for a mile and a half. But yeah,
that's
all the
crazy.
workouts, the long runs. I mean, my ankles and knees are like, dude, what are you doing? But I mean, we get it done.
Man, I'd be terrified seeing you run at me.
I
Are you
agree.
kidding me?
I agree. I think uh, I think I'd be scared, man.
I
If
think
I'm in the
anyone would.
battlefield and I see Wyatt Hendrickson peek out around the corner, nah, not doing
Just
it today. You're not doing it today, kid.
I catch I catch some people off guard for sure. We have like a bunch of trails and they're pretty thin. And me and the Calvin son, a 97 pounder, we'll just go on runs preseason and they see us come up the trail and they just like get off the trail. It's like
They hear the footsteps. They hear the footsteps of you two running up the
like, yo,
trail. They're like,
is there a horse on the trail? Nope.
when you run behind someone and you're like asking politely to move, they look behind them, they're like, oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead. It's like, thank you.
and you're running faster than they are. And they're like, what's going on, man? That kid's 250 pounds and he's moving like a 125 pounder.
Yeah, man. I try to keep up with those little guys.
Yeah, I feel like that's what every heavyweight says, but some succeed, some don't. You might be one of those guys that succeeds at it, man. But like I said, man, awesome year for you. Just really, really awesome to see. The strive you made. Like you said, you had a really rough year at nationals last year. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people kind of thought like maybe he's not as good as everybody said he was, but I think this year you really proved everybody wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I did have a really good year last year, and I mean, I don't really have any excuses for that I performed, but a lot of people know when you got a lot of stuff going on sometimes, and mentally you're not all the way there in the tournament, things won't go well. And so, the one tournament where I needed to really show out, I, kind of shit the bed. So, but yeah, I mean, especially since I feel a lot better about, like being the most dominant wrestler and having the most pins. Cause I mean, even last year, it's like, yeah, I had that award, but I wasn't even an All American. So it kind of felt like it wasn't as prestigious, like for not even like someone who made the podium to get those awards. So I definitely felt like they were well deserved this year because, I was 2 steps from the top.
Yeah, I mean, 100%, man, 100%. So I'm gonna kind of throw it over to Matthew here, and Matthew, feel free to go ahead and go through our list of questions. I know I kind of talked pretty much this whole beginning of the video, so I'll let
I got the
Matthew
second
kind of
half. All
shine a
right.
little bit of light, and if you want, kind of switch a little bit of the questions up because obviously it's a little different for
Yeah, of
for
course.
Wyatt being in the academy. So go for it, Matt.
I know you pretty much have a meal like anyone else. But is there anywhere like around the Air Force that like you can get food besides the cafeteria?
Yeah, we can go off base as an upperclassmen usually whenever we want, but I mean Chipotle is always a good one. We got Mod Pizza. Gosh, that place took me over
That's
when
the
I got.
second time we've heard mod pizza from somebody.
It's so good. Like it's so fresh and it's a good price. And it's just delicious. So that's definitely my top places. But then so I'm from Kansas and though it's Kansas, Texas Roadhouse. There's one over here and oh my goodness, whenever I want to spoil myself, I go and get me a nice steak. So
Well, what kind of ounces you getting?
the biggest I got. I've always
I
been a
knew it.
sirloin. Yeah, I'll get a big old T-bone or just their big sirloin with a nice salad and mashed potatoes.
Definitely, man. A big boy eating a big meal. I could see it.
Heck
And
yeah.
we are
How many
heavyweight
how many
questions.
rolls are you taking down?
So I actually have to
So
like start
many.
limiting myself, or else I just won't stop. So I usually after like 6, I'm like, okay, that's enough. I don't need any more.
After 6. I
Then
love
he
I
that.
want
sneaks a few
After
more.
6.
Yeah, usually after the meal, I'll be like, "Can I have some more rolls, please?" But you know, I want to go and just see. A lot of our buddies have done this, but I just want to go and see how many I can eat. Like the whatever challenge. Like there's a Texas
Yeah, the
Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse
Mm,
Roll Challenge. Yeah.
yeah,
My
I
buddy will
mean,
go order
uh,
full of chili and then just eat as many rolls as he can. So
yeah, I was there last week and I did some damage to those rolls.
yeah, they're too good, man.
So good with that cinnamon butter. Oh man, I'm hungry.
It's gambling. Yeah, I know. And I'm
All
like,
right.
man,
I
Texas
got a
Roadhouse.
quick one. I don't mean to cut you off, Matthew, but
Oh, good man.
best meal that they serve at the academy. What's the best food you've put in your mouth that the Air Force cafeteria served you?
So this is well known around the cadet wing. It's tendies and mac. So chicken tenders and mac and cheese. That's like the golden meal they serve here.
How many
And
times are you getting that a year?
Not many.
oh man, it depends. Recently, whenever things like are going like tough, they'll kind of be like, okay, give them some good meals. That's like, well, because when they're doing a bunch of military stuff, a bunch of academics are heavy, they'll say give them some tendies and mac. Usually it's about I want to say like once or twice a month maybe, but at one point it was like once a week because they were just beating us up. And they're like, all right, give them some tendies and mac.
I gotta know what's the worst.
Oh, chicken. I mean,
Chicken.
well, like so here's the thing. I mean, they're serving 4,000 over 4,000
Yeah,
cadets
I was gonna say the chefs there have
all
to
at
be
one
top
time
notch. Yeah.
Yeah.
at 15 minutes. So like you got to kind of give them some slack there.
So
So I
what's
mean,
that like? You said 15 minutes, right? You have to eat.
yeah.
So what's that like? How quick are you getting your food when you get in there?
So when we get in there, all the tables are usually set. They have like these they got these big heat carts. All the tables are just rowed by squadron, and they roll the food carts out, and then they got plenty of them. They serve it. I mean, obviously they got all the food made, and then they serve it out in 5 to 10 minutes to everybody, all the carts. So I mean, they're pretty.
That's impressive timing.
They've got it
4,000
down.
people in 10 minutes? Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good at what they do.
Yeah, man,
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
that's gotta be cool, man. We gotta see. I feel like there's gotta be a video somewhere online of like the military chefs like serving a meal. That's
Yeah,
gotta be cool to see.
Oh
definitely.
yeah.
But let's say like you're home and you don't have anything going on. What do you like to eat around your house? Like just a home cooked meal or
So I live in the country in Kansas, and every year we always buy half a cow. And so I love, yeah, yeah, got to feed mostly for me, but whatever. But they still do it even though I'm not home anymore. So I go home and I just go to the freezer. I open it up, and oh my gosh, just beef and
Meat.
steaks. Oh, it's delicious. And so my dad, he taught me how to grill at a young age, thankfully. So I come home and like in the summer, I get 3 weeks off. I go home and I make about like 2 pounds in the morning, and then maybe make 2 more pounds in the evening, and I just eat it throughout the day. I love beef. I can make like some delicious sausage. I can make some good seasoned beef. I can make some it's like some Mexican meals with it too. I have perfected cooking beef. Of
man,
course,
you're
the
a
Are
real
you
first.
a big
chef.
red meat guy? Like I feel like a lot of guys
Clearly.
that are wrestling are big like chicken and rice guys, and it's like, oh,
Nah,
chicken, chicken, chicken. You're a big red meat guy.
yep.
I
Makes
mean, that's how he
sense.
got so big. He's just eating a whole
You're a
cow.
big dude, so I'm not surprised.
I clean
Not
out the freezer.
surprised. What do you think the most meat you've eaten like growing up, like when you were in high school? How much like what was the most you think you ever ate?
Oh, like in a day or a week or
And
what?
a day.
Oof. Probably close to my senior year. Like I said, I'd wake up and just make a bunch of beef. One day, I was sick for like a week, and then I got
Mm.
better. My appetite hit me in the face, and I woke up and just like I grabbed like 8 eggs and 2 pounds of beef and ate it all for breakfast. Then for lunch, I was already hungry. I had like a steak. Then I had another steak. Like 2 hours later, I was hungry again, and then I had like 4 or 5 burgers. So I mean, I probably had like I don't know.
Four to six probably pounds.
Yeah, I had a lot of meat that day, and I
Holy
was
cow.
That's crazy.
My stomach was
Yeah,
it
well,
was
I'm
pretty
gonna probably ballpark probably about what you say, probably 6 pounds of meat that day, probably.
Yeah, no
probably I
doubt.
had a lot, that's for sure. I was pretty stuffed, but I was like happy.
Six
Like,
pounds of beef in one day is crazy. I think a
Yeah.
lot of doctors might not enjoy what your diet looks like.
nah, whatever.
A lot of red meat, man. A lot of red meat. So, what are you a big beef jerky guy too? Does your family kind of send up stuff like that to you at the academy?
So he, I've been, like I said, I've kind of been spoiled growing up. My dad's a great hunter. So I absolutely hate like beef jerky from stores. I have a like very particular taste for like homemade jerky. Our buddies make it for us, but I like if my dad doesn't shoot it, like I probably won't eat it. So I mean, I do.
No
They do.
Jack Links.
No, I just can't. After tasting the like the true meat, I just can't go back. So whenever my dad, kills something, they'll come up here for something, just bring a giant care package. I love it because it's not like a usual bag. It's like a 5 pound bag. It just it's
Meat.
still like cut.
Jerky.
It's not torn up. It's like you can just see like where they just cut the meat and it's just like giant slabs of it, like
That's
cut thin.
crazy.
So if it's not
I
that,
could
I don't
just
want.
see you in your room,
That's
With
about
a
right.
five
gnawing on
pound
it.
bag of
But like
jerky.
apart, just tearing it. Oh yeah.
I think
Yeah.
if I was about to wrestle and I looked across the mat and I see you ripping jerky, I think I'd forfeit.
Like after weigh-ins, he's just
Yeah,
ripping
just
apart.
ripping jerky. I'd be like, "What's he gonna do to me? Are you
I'm
kidding
eating
me right now?"
while I'm weighing in, while I'm stepping on the scale. I'm like,
Yeah,
buddy,
because
want
you're pretty light still. Like you
Yeah,
said, like you're pretty as big of a frame you have, you stay pretty lean. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm sure that they kind of keep you lean with all the workouts and stuff like that, and you kind of have to be careful that you don't get too heavy. Because I'm sure you probably can if you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I like being lean. Like I like when I go out there, I want to feel fast and light. As a heavyweight, it's nice. I mean, obviously, I've wrestled weights where I have to co-weight before, and when you really want like that dessert or that chocolate bar, piece of candy, you can't have it. But as a heavyweight, it's like, oh, I really shouldn't do this, but I can eat it, so I'm gonna do it anyway.
What's
So,
your favorite dessert? Do they give you dessert at the academy, or is that like a
kind of sometimes. It's all like packaged stuff they bring in, but my absolute favorite probably dessert I've ever had is from BJ's. It's a Pizookie. If you know what a Pizookie is, you guys know
it's a
exactly what I'm talking.
pizza cookie? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, they come out warm with that nice vanilla bean ice cream on top, and it's too good. Whenever I go there, I have to get it. I can't, no matter what time of season it is. I did that in high school too. I was like, I'm getting this Pizookie. I
During
don't care.
wrestling season, you're still eating it if you're there.
Oh, absolutely. I'm getting a couple of those things nowadays, but
So
the
what's it like for you when you have to travel to these big tournaments? Are they allowing you to miss your training or miss your classes like when you're going to travel to Tulsa, let's just say?
yeah, so I mean, I've heard different schools it's a little different. I mean, it's 100% different here. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So you have to have so technically if you miss class, that's a UCMJ offense. So that's like against like you could get in big trouble. That's like missing not showing up to duty if you miss class. And so obviously they have a system where you have like a certain event, and I have to reach out to every one of my teachers. My you're supposed to like ask for permission, but I mean they can't really say no, like just because of the way the system works sometimes. But it's a pain in the butt. It definitely takes you guys sit down for like 30 minutes to an hour and just talk to all your teachers and say, hey, I'm gonna be missing this. Is it okay? And you have to coordinate everything you're gonna miss ahead of time because I mean we miss lots of school. For instance, I missed almost between that and Big 12 is like a week of school. And you have to, a lot of the times they like make you make it up before. And so it's like, you just want to focus on wrestling, but you're trying to mess with all your teachers and get this stuff done. So, I mean, I'm used to it now, but my freshman year and sophomore year, I was overwhelmed. I mean, I got it down now.
Yeah, and that's not even
I
counting,
wish
like you
someone
said,
else
like
would have helped me.
a week just for your conference and your
yeah.
nationals, and that's not even counting away dual meets.
Yeah. Obviously, I became very fond of home dual meets because you don't miss any school. But Yeah, I mean, it's a hassle, but at the same time, I can't complain that much because I mean, it's super awesome to be at the Air Force Academy. So as much as I complain, I mean, I'm very blessed and very happy to be here.
I mean, I gotta know when you wrestle like Army or Navy or any other branches, is there that military beef?
I think a little bit. I mean, we're all on the same team, but just like that little rivalry, like whenever you beat one of those guys, it does feel pretty good. We don't have the all academies anymore, which kind of sucks, but we still see them in competition sometimes, and we definitely keep track of how many times we beat them. And so far, for at the time I've been at the academy, we've always came out on top. We've always out wrestled both Army and Navy at every single tournament. So
And do
that
you
feels
guys wrestle like Coast Guard too, or no?
we don't. So we did the all academies. We would there'd be like
Mm-hmm.
Citadel, Coast Guard, a couple of those teams, but that's not trying to point fingers at anyone else, but Army and Navy, one of those guys, they messed it up for everyone. So now it's not a thing anymore.
I think that'd be cool.
Unfortunate.
I think they should bring
Yeah.
that back.
They really should. That was like a
Well, I
really
mean,
important.
there's no doubt in anybody's mind that you're the best military heavyweight. So, I'm sure there's some other guys at some different weights that might be a little bit better, but Wyatt Hendrickson's the best military heavyweight out there. Nobody's touching him.
Like, yeah,
I mean, so what's it kind of like? I feel like a lot of people, when they bring home that All American, it's like and there's parades and all this, crazy celebration and stuff. But what's it like for you bringing one of those back to the academy? Do they put one on just for you, just like the other places do?
heck no, dude. I come back here. I mean, it's awesome. So like, there's a very few select people that know wrestling and that kind of follow it, and it's awesome because those guys like, oh, dude, congratulations. But I mean, I'm just like I said, I'm just a like I am a wrestler, but at the same time, I mean, I'm just a cadet at the academy, and so it kind of just comes back to normal, and it's
Teachers
a lot.
don't get excited for you or anything like that.
I mean, some people that know me are like, "Oh, that's awesome! Like, I heard you did good at this wrestling tournament." But I mean, there's not like a big celebration. I might get recognized at a football game, which is cool. But I mean, at the academies, a big difference is like I could quit wrestling today, and my life would be way easier. I'd have so much extra time on my hands, and so like sports here are kind of just like an extracurricular activity that, I mean, they're just there. Like unlike other schools, like sports is revolved around everything, but for here it's just kind of completely opposite. So I mean, no one really cares. But I mean, obviously, I do it for myself.
And your
This
team. I'm sure your
yeah,
team
my
cares.
yeah,
Yeah.
these are my goals that I'm going and completing with my team. So I mean, yeah, the team is, of course, they're ecstatic. I mean, that's awesome. So,
You better
but yeah,
get tendies and mac if you win that national championship the first day you're back. They better
that's
put
what I'm
on
saying.
a good meal for you.
I need to be like, hey, if I win, Kenny's a mac for the wing. So it'll be pretty sweet.
That'd be pretty sick. Go ahead, Matt. You could ask him a couple more questions and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up here.
All right. Let's see here. We got a lot. I want to know your toughest opponent. You've wrestled a lot of guys, but who really just you look at and you're like, that's a hard match.
Like that I have wrestled
Yeah.
Gable Stevenson for sure my freshman year. I didn't really know what to think going into that match because I mean when I was in high school I was watching that guy wrestle, and I've always looked up to these guys like, man, I want to wrestle just like those guys. So as soon as you go toe to toe against them, it was just like, wow, like it was kind of an accomplishment. Like I made it because it's always been my goal is to, like, I want to be able to compete against the guys that I look up to. And so as soon as I made it to that level, I mean, that match I wrestled him. I got teched in the third period in like last 20 seconds, but that man just moves so quick. You don't know where he's coming from. Like he moves your weight around. I mean, obviously it was my first year in college, but I mean, he's just very technical, very skilled. And so I'd love to wrestle him again. I think it'd be a pretty good match. I'm not the same wrestler I
A
was a
super
couple years.
match.
Yeah, it'd be pretty sweet.
Let's see it happen.
That'd be dope. I think that'd be really exciting to see. And I know he's been talking a lot on social media lately about how he just wants to wrestle. He
Mhm.
doesn't care where or who for. He just wants to compete.
And I know
Yeah.
like you being in the academy, can you guys go and like wrestle freestyle and Greco?
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, I'm still going to the U.S. Open. In April with it later this month, and yeah, they give us those opportunities, which is super cool. Like
Yeah.
I said, the paperwork to miss class is kind of a pain, but as soon as we get all that done, it's uh, it's all smooth sailing from there.
I mean, if
Yeah, I
Gable does
mean,
what he says, you might see him in the Olympic trials.
That'd be pretty sweet. Like I'm looking forward. I'm not afraid to wrestle good people. That's what I want to do. I mean, obviously wrestling is fun, and I just love wrestling. And so obviously losing isn't always the best, but as long as I know I went out there and put my best foot forward, I mean, I'm grateful for that opportunity, and I love to go out there and scrap.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
man.
I think it'll be exciting. I think there's a lot of really good guys that are, going to take freestyle this year. So I think I'm excited. I think you are somebody that a lot of people could see potentially being, the winner there. And I know, um, is there a Final X match for that? Is Zilmer coming back? I'm assuming.
Um, yeah. So I trained with Zuma a little bit. As of right now, I mean, I think he's still planning on. I don't want to speak too much for him. Some stuff's going on, but I mean, he's an awesome competitor. I mean, I'd love to see him there again. Obviously, I wrestled him last year. I mean, we've drilled together, but I mean, wrestling a live match again in freestyle, I need that. Like, but we love it. Like, this is one thing that heavyweights are just different. A
We
lot of
all
the
love
lower
each other. We all like each
Exactly.
other.
I mean,
There's no
all the
beef
little
between
guys
anybody.
are always pissed off at each other, being all that. But heavyweights, like, I'm bros with a lot of them. Obviously, we step on the mat like it's business, but I mean, we know that we'll go over there and try to rip each other's head off. But then off the mat, it's like, hey man, like
I think
we're
you
all
see
just
that a lot with
support
the
each other.
NFL linemen. I feel like a lot of NFL
Mhm.
linemen are like super cool with each other, like hang out with each other in the off season, but during the game they're running full speed into each other. Like it's business.
Yeah, it's just a big guy thing. We're just more chill than all those little
We
guys.
we gotta we gotta come together when we get the chance. It's something special, man. But I
I feel like I'm
mean,
getting called out here. All
it's
right.
all right. It's all right. It's a big guy thing, you know.
Prove us wrong. You gotta prove us wrong. We'll do it. We'll do it.
Yeah, man. I think we're excited, man. A bright future for you. So how
Definitely.
does that work after your 4 years are done? Does that stop? Will you no longer be able to compete in the sport of wrestling?
So I will actually. We actually have a super cool opportunity here. It's called WCAP. So it's the World Class Athlete Program. I've talked about that a little bit before. So I'm hoping to go into the Space Force, and I'll still be able to do it for the Air Force. But hopefully, I'll have to go to my job for a little bit, most likely. Right after I graduate, but then I'll be able to take like a 3 year leave from that and just wrestle for 3 years. So
Good for
yeah,
you.
I'm looking forward to that. That'll be sweet. Obviously, I don't want my journey to end yet. If it does, I mean, he's obviously got a plan for me. But if wrestling's still in it, I mean, I prefer that.
Yeah, like what if like you're a football player and you want to get drafted to the NFL, like, but you still have to do your service?
Yeah, I'm not completely refreshed on those, but there is rules about it where you're allowed to go do that, and then you can be in the reserves for a amount of years. I don't know the exact specifics, but there is a way that you can do that and then still get
Mhm.
your service in afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
it
say
seems
I
like
know
they're
there's
pretty
a lot of
accommodating.
that's happened multiple times, I'm sure,
Hmm.
where military guys have gotten drafted to the NFL and stuff like that.
Yeah, a
But
couple
yeah,
guys.
we're excited, man. We're excited to see what you could do. Are you? I'm assuming you're not going to do U23s. You're going to do senior level.
Yeah, so they're kind of combined this year. I'm sure you'll see how it works, but pretty much if you're eligible for U23 and you take top third at the U.S. Open, you automatically get the spot.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, my goal is obviously to win that. So that's kind of the way it works. But obviously, if no one does that, then they'll go to the U23s and have those trials. But I mean,
So I mean,
U23s,
it's good
you know,
for you because I mean, technically, like speaking, you technically have two chances to make two different world teams. So let's just
yeah,
say things don't go quite your way at senior level, then you could go wrestle U23.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, as long as I can go out there and wrestle, I mean, that's what I
Doesn't
want to
matter
do.
who is, I feel like it's got to be kind of an honor having a guy in the military also wrestling for Team USA. I think
Yeah.
that's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, man, and it's been a pleasure, man. It's been a pleasure, talking with you, and it's been awesome following your career so far. This year was, an amazing year for you, and I'm sure your coaches at Air Force are very happy with your performance. And I think all of us fans are looking forward to next season.
Heck yeah, Derek. Thank you very much.
Of course, man.
Good season. We're gonna, big things coming next year. So don't count me out yet.
Yeah, man, and I think we're excited to see next year, like I said, and I think there's a big opportunity for you to make some noise and bring home that trophy, that national championship. So hopefully next year we get you on the podcast and we'll be introducing you as Wyatt Hendrickson 2024 national champion. I think that'll be cool. Cool to see.
Got a good ring to it. I like it.
It does got a good ring to it, man. And one closing statement. You already asked our zombie apocalypse question. I think the military school, you're one of if not the only
most
military
well-equipped.
guy. Yeah, I think no team has a chance compared to you. So we'll skip that one. If anybody wants to see his response, we did a video with Wyatt about a year ago. He I think had a team of killers. So I'm sure he would have another team of killers this year again. So one final thing, man. Say something to the kids out there, the kids that want to serve in the U.S. military, the kids that watch you wrestle and they want to, get the opportunity to wrestle and serve their country. Go ahead and just say something to them, man.
Yeah, so I mean, I can speak to that. Just like my mindset, even as a little kid, and being recruited. I mean, obviously, when you're little growing up, if you're not from a military family, it's never really in the picture. It's never in the thought. But when you're looking for colleges and stuff like that, I mean, you're young, you're 16, 17, 18, getting recruited to colleges, and the one thing on your mind is just having fun. Obviously, I mean, I was never a party or anything, but go out, have fun, wrestle at a college school, do all this cool stuff. And you're really just thinking short term. You're not really looking forward to what your life's going to be as soon as wrestling's over. So I really looked at wrestling as a gateway. And as soon as I saw the opportunity come up, it was a very tough decision. Obviously, as soon as you talk to people around you, like I talked to my parents, I talked to people that, 50, 60 years old, like, you got a letter from the Air Force Academy? Like they're just so like, no way. And when you're young, you just don't understand the gravity of that. And so kind of just taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture, because I mean, I know we all love wrestling, but at one point it's most likely going to come to an end. And so after that, you got to have a plan. And, here at the Air Force Academy, it sets you up for life. And so as soon as I got that opportunity, I committed super early because I really, like I said, I was able to take a step back and look at the big picture. And I was like, this is the best thing for me. The education, and obviously, a lot of people are kind of worried because it's 5 years of service, but it's a guaranteed job. Like as soon as I get out of here, I don't have to worry about anything. They already got a slot for me. And let's say something happens and after 5 years, I want to get out. I mean, you're a graduate from the Air Force Academy and you got 5 years of experience working as an officer. It's like,
You could get a job. Yeah.
It really, life, it really does. And so I definitely think looking long-term of what's best for you. And like I said, it's hard to do that at such a young age. So really just staying open-minded to it and looking long-term, it really helps.
Yeah, man. And if there's any people out there thinking, they want to join the Air Force, you might run into Wyatt Hendrickson at the Air Force Academy next year. If you join in, man. If you join in, but
he's a good guy. Go say hi.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He might be big and a little intimidating, but
I can. I'm a big teddy bear. Don't be fooled by my big figure. I'm a big teddy bear.
Yeah, man. It's been awesome to get the opportunity to talk to you now twice, and we're big fans of you, big supporters of the U.S. military. So, it's a blessed opportunity we get to speak to you, man. And we look forward to next season, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you, in a couple of months here in Vegas, and go ahead and make yourself a world team.
Heck yeah. I love to rep USA every single time. Thank you guys.
Man, it's been another episode of the Heavyweight Nation podcast with Wyatt Hendrickson. Have a good one, guys.